Welcome to Thursday. It's November 24th, 2022. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. This Day Weather Podcast is being brought to you by Cowboy State Daily. Check them out at cowboystatedaily.com. And Chugwater Chili. Get 20% off your purchase by using checkout code CHUGWATER. Check out their Chugwater Chili Steak Rub. As we head through this Thanksgiving holiday and the Thanksgiving weekend, this is what we're watching. It's going to be chilly, breezy today across the region. Some lingering mountain flurries, but for the most part, it's just going to be a colder, windy Thanksgiving day. We have fair weather on Friday into early Saturday, but there's another frontal system, not unlike the one that just went through, that's going to come through Saturday afternoon and Sunday, especially for Montana and Wyoming. This will bring another batch of mountain snow and a few snow showers on the plains. So we've got to watch for you travelers. Some snow shower activity on the plains again and into the mountain passes late Saturday afternoon through Sunday. Nothing big, but again, enough to pay attention to. Certainly it is looking cold next week. We have two shots, really, of cold air that will come with some snow. One early in the week and one late in the week. And the overall trend for early December is cold for the West. And that cold will spread to the East Coast eventually as we get into next weekend. Today's satellite photo shows this little patch of cloudiness right here. This is the wave, the low that yesterday was up here, sliding southeast. And again, we do expect it's going to go down into West Texas and eastern New Mexico and cause problems. We'll show you that here in a minute. This area of cloudiness is associated with the next little wave that's going to come south and east, basically following the same path of this one. It's going to come through late Saturday and Sunday, bringing another round of snow to the mountains and snow showers to the plains and cooler temperatures. As we look at the upper level chart today, you can see the low has already gone from here yesterday to here. It has really gone through very, very quickly. And as it gets better organized, that's where we're going to see a problem right here. By tomorrow morning, the low gets wrapped up there in Big Bend country and becomes what we call a cutoff low and intensifies a little bit, draws in some Gulf of Mexico moisture, and there's cold air coming in on the backside of it. And what you're going to have is a snow event along sections of Interstate 40 as we see this low drop south. Here's the next little wave. That's going to come in Saturday afternoon and Saturday night. And there's a little bit of a close-up to the system by 11 a.m. Mountain Time on Saturday. Low going right down into Texas. Now, this will bring some needed rain to some areas, but on the colder backside of the system, well, that's where there's going to be trouble with the potential for snow. Look at all the rain here coming into the southern plains, some thunderstorm activity. So travelers going through Dallas and Houston this weekend, you're maybe going to have some delays because of that. This is mostly rain except back here. And there it is. So you can see that potential snow event Friday into Saturday into those areas there. As we look at the forecast through Sunday, this is the next wave right here. This precipitation, it looks very much like what just happened, right? It's basically repeating. That low coming on through here is going to bring snow showers to the northern Rockies as we get into Saturday night, and into Sunday morning. So if you're traveling then, just enough to be a nuisance. And there you can see by Saturday mornings the lows there. And there's a little bit of a focusing close-up of that precipitation. And this is what the snowfall looks like with that wave on Sunday. So these areas here, this is with that next low coming on through. So be ready for that Saturday afternoon through early Sunday morning. Looks very similar to what just happened. Then, as we get into early next week, the high really begins to build in the eastern Pacific. There's that cold signal. And this is a pattern remarkably similar to what we had in earlier November, when we hit a stretch of about 7 to 10 days where it got pretty cold. We saw a lot of snow fall in the mountains, and it just was a wintry pattern. Well, that's happening again. We've got this wave getting pushed in the Monday, Tuesday time frame. There's another wave coming in behind it. You see this gray area here? There's just a lot of very cold air building up into the northern hemisphere and spitting out these upper level lows that then drag cold fronts through the west. And as long as this high remains in the eastern Pacific, well, the pattern is going to be open to a lot of cold air coming right out of western and northwest Canada into the western United States. As you go through a season, patterns repeat. What happens once early or even into the middle of the season, could happen again later. That's just kind of how the weather gets a rhythm to it. Each season is different, but they tend to get rhythms to it, especially when you have these patterns of sea surface temperatures kind of holding firm out in the Pacific Ocean. So this first wave comes through with a cold shot Monday and Tuesday. Look at the temperature anomalies by Tuesday afternoon. Now there's warm air getting pushed out ahead of the low into the Midwest and Great Lakes, but look at the cold. It is extensive. Remember, if you're 20 to 30 degrees below the seasonal normals in Alaska and the Northwest Territories, you're bringing in some really, really cold air. And this cold air is dense, it's heavy, and it's going to get a push. So the cold will eventually go into the rest of the nation later next week. And this is the next batch of moisture. It's not tremendously heavy, but if you look at the major mountain ranges here, you'll see where there's extra amounts of precipitation and snow that's going to be forming as these waves come through. And there is going to be some snow on the plains as well. Not heavy, but some snow will be coming to the plains. So this is basically what falls Monday, Tuesday into early Wednesday. So if you're traveling early next week, you've got to watch this along with colder temperatures. Now this is by next Thursday night into next Friday. That secondary low comes right in, and again, it's a pattern very similar. With the high here in the Eastern Pacific, the doors open to Canada, so more cold air is going to get pushed on into the region. And there it is. This is by Friday. Another slug of purple coming on in. Another wave of cold will come in for the first few days of December. This will end up getting pushed more south and east as well, and that's going to lead to some very cold weather and probably another round of light to moderate snows by late next week. So next week, very wintry in the western United States. And there you can see the push. This is by next Saturday. So by next Saturday, the cold then goes on into the east. Probably going to have another round of some lake effect snow with that cold air coming on through. And this is happening in other areas across the northern hemisphere as well. And this is something to point out is that where the cold is going to be over the next 7 to 10 days is over the most populated areas of the northern hemisphere. Here in North America, we also have a pocket of cold air right here and here over Europe that's coming in. Look at all of this axis of cold. This blue area and green area here, this is just really, really cold air. And notice it's on this side of the hemisphere. It's on our side of the globe. So we have easy access to the coldest air. So if we look at the temperature anomaly, this is like if we're looking down on the North Pole from space. Here's the United States, here's Africa, here's Europe, here's Asia. So this is by late next week. Look at the cold over North America. Look at the cold over all of Europe with a stretch of cold going over to Siberia and into many areas of Asia. So you're looking at the coldest weather over the most populated areas as we go over the next 7 to 10 days. So early December going to prove interesting. And look at these temperature anomalies by next weekend. From a geopolitical standpoint, we talk about energy all the time, and natural gas prices are well over up $1 this week because of the colder weather. But look at these temperatures relative to the 30-year average in Eastern Europe by next weekend. Not good news there. Good news, though, from the La Nina El Nino standpoint, this is the latest modeling predictions of where those sea surface temperatures are going to go in the subtropical Pacific. This solid green line here represents the average of all the computer modeling, and it's continuing to show a warming trend. All of the modeling is showing sea surface temperatures going up. It just depends on how much they go up. But this trend is the same trend we've been looking at. So once you get past this negative 0.5 Celsius anomaly is when you go into neutral status. When you get above that 0 point, you're looking at what we call La Nada. You're not El Nino, you're not La Nina. But when you get to 0.5 positive, which actually it's showing here by May, June, and July, you're in weak El Nino status. So this trend continues. The red bars show the probabilities of maybe an El Nino forming, and the blue bars show the La Nina. So we continue to have this intersection right here where the chances of El Nino go up and La Nina go down. So right around this area here, we're still expecting La Nina to fade. And there's also something else going on in the Indian Ocean, which is a signal that La Nina is coming to an end as well. And that is something we didn't see a year ago. Have a happy and safe Thanksgiving. We'll see you